good afternoon or good morning or good evening wherever you are in the world. Here in the United Kingdom, it is absolutely raining cats and dogs today. From the minute I've got up to come to work this morning to now, it's now 1:30ish in the afternoon, and it's just not letting up. So I thought I'd use the metaphor of weather to hopefully give an explanation to how thinking works in human beings. So the beauty about the weather, the beauty about what we understand about weather is that when it's particularly bad like this, we know subconsciously, deep down, that this weather isn't going to last. It's going to change. There will be, no doubt about it, there will be a sunny day to come. Just a matter of when, not if. And when it comes to our thinking, our experience of life, whatever we're going through in the moment, thinking, you can use weather to describe the changes in thinking. So when you or someone you know has an experience of negative thinking, a negative experience, that could be described as particularly stormy weather. And the next day they might wake up and say whatever they were experiencing, whatever situation they experiencing the day before is totally different the next day. And the same thing can happen with weather. It can be a rainy, cloudy, blustery day like it is today, and the next day it's absolutely totally different. Sun shines out, no wind, nice warm temperature, totally contrasting to the previous day. And how many times do you see people who have had a bad day, then they wake up the next day and they don't seem as burdened or as worn down or as or taking their weather as seriously as they were? And that's because it inevitably it's always changing all the time, just like the weather does. And I've talked about hope on previous videos, but that should give anyone a lot of hope. If you know your thinking is never permanent and it's changing just like the weather changes, and you're never stuck in life with, no matter whatever experience you're going through, whatever problem you're going through, it's extremely fluid and changes all the time, as does the weather. And going back to weather, people pin the weather on their happiness. You'll see people that are in a good mood, and you'll say, why are you in a good mood? It's like, well, the sun's shining outside, why wouldn't I be in a good mood? And the next day the sun's shining out again, and they're in a bit of a bad mood, like, well, why are you in a bad mood for? And they'll come back and say, oh, this and that. And I say, well, the sun's out, and you were adamant that when the sun was out yesterday you were happy. The sun's out today and you're not happy. What's happened? which just rivets the point that the previous day, where the person was saying the weather was creating their happy experience, is totally not true. They were obviously thinking extremely positive, happy thoughts at the time. Nothing to do with the weather outside. And the same goes with negative weather. I'm sure around the country, around the world, when it comes to bad weather, you'll find people that will say, oh, I'm unhappy because the weather's annoying me. It's too cold outside, I don't like the cold, or this country drives me nuts, it's always cold in the winter months, we don't really get much of a summer, blah 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 blah. And I'm guilty of it. I actually quite like it sometimes when it's raining. I find it quite comforting, but it just reiterates the point that everyone's experience of the same thing is totally different. I might drive home from work later and the weather's pouring it down. I might be saying, oh, blooming weather. So again, the experience is always changing. So and when it comes back, when I was talked about, I'd had a previous video which says wellness is always available, and despite it being a quite gloomy, cloudy day, the sun is out there somewhere. It's just hiding because of all the dark clouds. And that goes back to your well-being as well. As I mentioned in the previous video, your well-being is always available to you inside. It's only because the clouds are covering the sun, which is your well-being, that you think it's gone away. It's always with you, always. it's just masked by negative thinking, which is the and cloudy thinking, which is the clouds in the sky. That's all it is. So, you know, as I said, really, really horrible day in early February in the UK, but what a beautiful way to describe how life works and how fluid life works. Whatever experience I or anyone around the city, around the country is going through, around the world is going through right now in terms of weather, their experience of the weather will change from moment to moment. That is 100% true. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks again, guys. Bye bye.